podcast, and we got Robbie Hummel.
I'd known you since you were a kid.
I could blow my knee out, both knees, and still kick your ass.
We're trying to find the Robbie Hummel statue.
I wanted to kill you.
All right, welcome back. The Goodman and Hummel pod returns. Robbie Hummel actually gets off the golf course, and he only does it for one guy. The guy who ended his collegiate career back in, what was that, like 1974?
It was 2012, asshole.
2012.
2012.
Bill Self, thank God. Thank God you ended his career, because imagine if Hummel had won a national title, the ego on this dude.
Well, let's not get too twisted. I mean, you got to get out of the second round.
We only had four more games to win.
We only had four more games to get there. But I will say this about Robbie: he was hard to guard, and we had a guy that year that finished second in the National Player of the Year. He was tremendous, Thomas Robinson. But it was a bad matchup that Robbie liked a lot. Would that be fair to say?
That is fair. I got some open looks early. You know, you get yourself going when the guy doesn't think you can shoot an open three. So yeah, that's fair.
Well, listen, we appreciate you jumping on. I know it's been a crazy off season. Crazy. I mean, again, it never stops. I remember your quote. I don't know if this was taken out of context or not last year, but I think it was something to the effect of like, I can't wait for next season or something like that. I can't wait for this season to be over.
No. I would never say that, but I was excited about the opportunity to recruit in the portal.
Yeah.
I'll say that, but no, I would never say I can't wait for anything to be over. But
except this podcast. Hey, except this podcast.
Hey, yeah, except this podcast. How long did you say we're going? 4 minutes? Is that what you told me?
45 minutes, Bill.
No.
We paid you big NIL for this appearance.
Oh yeah. I'm waiting on that. Maybe a PBR beer or something like that. That'd probably be all I'd get out of YouTube.
I'll send you some banana pudding from Charleston.
But last year at the end, we were so decimated by more than any team that I've ever been around. And we held back a couple of scholarships because of the NCAA stuff and everything. It was hard to finish the year the way we did because we had a good team. I mean, we were good, but we just didn't have the bodies at the end. And I was excited to change that, but never hoping it would be over. No.
Well, we'll get to your team in a little bit. Let's start with kind of big picture because, you know, when I went out in July, you're talking to coaches, and a lot of them, I won't say their names specifically, but a lot of them are complaining, you know, like literally ranting for a half an hour straight on, you know, how everything's changed, not for the better with the portal, with NIL, with realignment, with all of it. And listen, a lot of it is frustrating to me too. When I talked to you, there were honestly no complaints. Like you really didn't. You've kind of bought into this thing. And at 61 years old, a lot of guys would be like, this sucks. I don't want to deal with it. You've taken kind of a different approach, have you not?
I took approach after last year that if I can't adjust, it's time to get out, basically. And I'm not saying we've adjusted great. I'm not going to change how we coach them from, 2 to 4:30 every day or anything like that. But I do think the approach has to be changed. I told our guys, I said, they asked me, what do I hope to get out of this, or how do I hope players view me? And I think the only thing I could come up with, I think I know what wins. I think I know values that win, but how can I keep those same values? How can I still be old school and be hip and cool? And I don't know that I could ever get there, but my mindset has changed a little bit where I'm not looking at it just as how screwed our business is I'm looking at it, this is the way it is. And every business that anybody's involved with over the course of time, there's going to be drastic change and you have to adjust regards to that business. This will level out. Like it's wild, wild west now. It is what other coaches say right now, because I'll say the same thing. But I do think it'll level out. I do think the guardrails at some point in time we'll get back on to the point where we all know what we're operating with. Because right now, I don't know that any coach out there actually knows what they're operating with. Is rev share going into effect? Is it not? Is NIL going to be true NIL? Or are we still going to have donor involvement? Whatever it is, it is. But it'd be nice to know that if just kind of what they anticipate it being, because what the NCAA has said that they anticipate it being, I'm not saying it can't be that eventually, but I don't know if that's going to be that in the time frame in which they initially stated.
Coach, do you feel like you still can coach your guys as hard as you maybe did 10 years ago with NIL, with the portal, with just the way that things have changed? Like, how has your approach to coaching guys hard? Because I know you do. Like, I've seen your shoot-arounds. I've seen the way you guys operate. You do coach them hard. But what is different today?
Verbiage. In all honesty, I think that kids still want to be coached. I still think great players want to get better. I still think that there's a hunger that exists that kids still yearn for accountability and for discipline. I do think that is expected within your team if you have a good team and you have good leadership. I think that's expected. So that was my point earlier. How do I coach them just as hard, the same way we've always been, but do it in a way where maybe it doesn't feel the same way. As a young coach, I think that we want more control. Like, I want to run a play to score. As an older coach, you know what? I want players that can go score. I think there's kind of a thing where you actually, the older you get, you actually trust your players more to go out and play within the way that you've taught them to play, as opposed to running plays to designate how they play. And I think your teams have a far better chance of being successful when you do that. And I think that we've done that over time. I mean, I would never believe that some of the shots that we take now we would have taken back in 05 or 06. And have me not even say a word. I'm worried more about the 3, 4, and 5 man that don't go to the glass than I am whether or not the shot goes in or not, or how we get back or whatever. I've always thought it was a good or bad shot when it left your hand. But I don't know when I was a young coach if I actually believed it. Maybe I just said it. And now I actually believe more. So I trust my players more. So I do think players enjoy playing for us more than they did when it was a little bit more regimented. But I still don't think players at all will want to sacrifice the process, the day-to-day grind, because those are badges of honor that you wear your whole life.
Sure.
And you may not know it while you're going through it, but as soon as you finish it, you're like, man, I'm glad we went through that. No coach likes dealing with problems. But I will tell you this, no coach enjoys fixing them more than what we do. I mean, nobody enjoys fixing them more. So it's a different world. But I don't think I'm going to coach the guys different. I think I may interact with them differently, where maybe it's their idea of what we do. All right, guys, how quick can we do this? How well can we do this? How long can we go with not allowing the ball to touch the paint off the bounce, a catch or a rebound? And with that, what's the punishment if we can't do this? Well, if we can't do this, coach, we got to do this. Okay, well, you just determine what we're doing, as opposed to me being the jerk to determine what, what. So I think I'm trying to give guys more ownership.
I think about some of the shots that get taken off the bounce from 3. And like when I was in high school, I mean, my high school coach would have been like, no, just come sit next to me. And I'm sure most college coaches, but it's like the Steph Curry effect, right? Like that's become a shot that guys more so work on. And I suppose percentages have gone up, but that's what you're talking about, right? Where guys are taking shots, no chance that would have been acceptable 10 years ago.
There's a difference between being able to shoot and I can make a shot. I can make that shot. Well, hell yes, you can make it. If you get 5 attempts, you should be able to make one. But getting guys to understand the difference in that, as opposed to maybe somebody taking a marginal shot and he can make 2 out of 5, and hey guys, that's what we're playing to. We're not playing to you. When you get at the next level, and Robbie, you experience this, and I've had many NBA people tell me this. You're going to go from being an alpha in a college situation to go and being, the 9th, 10th, 11th option. So I tell my guys all the time, if you think the way you think you should play here is going to get you paid at the next level, no, you don't understand. You're not going to be a franchise player at the next level. They've already got 2 or 3 of those guys. Your job is to make the life easier on them. And I tell guards, so you think you can check into a game as a guard at the next level and not guard the other team's best player on the perimeter, and you force Steph Curry to guard him? What value do you bring to a situation? And getting guys to understand at the collegiate level, I think, is important, not only to win at the collegiate level, but to also prepare them for the next one, because many guys leave their collegiate situation or their high school situation and go up a level, and it's totally different. They don't run anything for me, coach. Well, no shit. You've got so and so on your team. I mean, how are you going to score off of their misses? That's what I'd be worried about.
The Big 12 was the best league in the country last year. It only gets tougher with adding these Pac-12 teams into your league. How do you prepare your group when you look at the schedule for some of the 5-game stretches where you're like, man, this is definitely daunting?
Yeah, I actually think it's kind of more like a 20-game stretch.
Yeah.
You used to look at it. Well, we'll divide it into weeks. This week, that week, whatever. And gosh dang it, it's hard to do in our league. Everybody is good. I think we're going to have 5 in the preseason top 10, maybe 8 or 9 in the preseason top 30 or 40. And the other thing is, everybody is committed to the way the world operates today, through NIL or whatever. I mean, it's not going to be a situation where these teams are just catching the right wave. These teams and these programs and these administrations are committed enough that they ain't going away. So the league is a monster, and it's been a monster for a long time, as you guys know. But I think even more so moving forward. It's also a little misleading, and you guys know this too. When you play everybody twice, it's a little misleading, because now you add all these teams, but the reality of it is you're only playing 2 of those teams twice. So most of those games, I think in our league, we're playing 5 teams, 5 teams twice and 10 teams once. So to me, it's just different, when the preparation on a 1 or 2 day deal in February, when it's the first time you've seen that team, is a different feel than what we've had in the past, for sure.
If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM Sportsbook. We're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 throughout the year. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use bonus code FIELD, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. The best part, all you need to do is deposit and bet $10 of your own hard-earned money to be eligible. Here's how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using that bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure that you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. BetMGM is going to have some fun offers available throughout the NBA playoffs. Bet insurance tokens, odds boost, and what I love, a nice parlay boost or two from time to time, as well as a ridiculous array of player prop bets for any sport that you could possibly imagine betting on. BetMGM is and always will be the king of the prop bet. So go download the BetMGM app, use the bonus code FIELD, and sign up today. And while I've got you, a quick request. The best way to support the Field of 68 content that you get for free is to engage with us. Rate and review the podcast. Like and share the YouTube videos. Tell your friends about us. It all helps in a world where the algorithm is king. And now, back to the show.
All right. A year or so ago, think about this. A year ago was when the NCAA came out and basically said whatever it was, IAERP, whatever the hell it was called, said there were no, get rid of all those level 1 allegations. You guys are basically cleared. You went through this for like, I don't know, how many years was it? 5 years that you were kind of in limbo at that point? You had a health scare in that. You had a major health scare.
It was 6 years.
6 years, major health scare. I mean, I remember seeing you and saying, like, you didn't look good at times. You didn't. I mean, honestly, I don't know if I told you that, but you.
God, is that? Hey, Robbie, is that not? Is that not?
What kind of question is
right
this?
Is that not?
I'm just saying, it clearly took its toll on you mentally. And
get to the question, Jeff. Journalism 101. This is a long question.
I'm getting to it. How difficult was it, Bill, to go through that? And do you remember, like, what was the low point of all that? Was there a point where you thought about, hey, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm done.
No. I would have never thought that until we got through it. Never entered a mind until we got through it. What was so disappointing to me was the narrative that which I thought was not only unfair to me and to our program and to coaches, but others as well. That's not associated with Kansas. The narrative that the NCAA, in my opinion, tried to create to offset, what the FBI had come up with at that particular time. And I think there'd be some people that would agree with me on that. But dealing with the unknown when you've got a muzzle on your mouth where you can't speak about it, where whatever the narrative people want to talk about is the narrative and you can't defend it. That was tough on everybody. And then, probably the most proud thing was that, we actually won a national championship at the height of it. We weren't able to recruit the same way that we've recruited in the past, and the kids we go after, hey, the Christian Browns and the Ochai Bajis and the David McCormicks and the Jalen Wilsons and the Remy Martins and the DeJuan Harrises, guys that basically came to us very under recruited. We knew they were good players, but we had no idea they'd turn out to be the level which they have. That made it very gratifying and fun. And probably to your question earlier, that was probably, even though it was a negative time, that's probably as much fun I've had within the lines, coaching those kids and having them achieve and play to the level that they did at a time where it's probably the hardest to do so.
Coach, I want to ask you about Hunter. I saw him a lot his last year at Michigan, and I think distracted would maybe be a good word to use. He had a podcast on Barstool that wasn't helping him. He had the ski mask game where he walks into Wisconsin. Just things where I when he went to Kansas, I'm like, all right, this shit is done. What was your conversation like with him maybe before he got there, and how much growth have you seen from Hunter?
Well, I think that Hunter, as you guys know, naturally has personality.
Yes.
I think personality is good. So I want him to show his personality, but not in a way that would cause his job or what he wants to do with his life to become more difficult. I think sometimes we like the catchphrase or the one-liners that get attention, that obviously are good in that moment, but over time it's like, God dang, what have we really accomplished by doing that? And I think Hunt was kind of on that path a little bit. Robbie, I'll be honest with you, he's been a 10. I mean, he cares about his teammates. He's extremely unselfish. He's unbelievably bright. He's a worker. He's unselfish. He gets it. But we haven't taken away him being having a personality. Maybe what we've done is maybe limited some of the things that maybe that he would agree with him with us. He would agree with us. Maybe this wasn't a smart play at the time. So let's think about what's a smart play over time as opposed to just trying to get a splash. And he's been great. He's been great. Now I'm not going to say tomorrow he can't do something, but whatever he does, it's done with the intention of in the best interest of his teammates and us being good. He's amazing. You know, if he gets an NIL deal, the first people he wants to take care of is, hey guys, these people want to do this with me, and I'm not going to do it unless I can take care of you guys out of this deal. He's become a very good leader.
So last year, like you said at the beginning, I mean, you were decimated. Yeah, McCullough goes out. You don't have him for the tournament. You're thin anyway. I mean, I was there for that game where you blasted Houston, and we saw the best version of your team. But let's face it, your margin for error was so small last year. You had no depth. This year, you look at your team, and it's like the polar opposite. It's almost like you got two at every spot. You bring in Rylan Griffin, Zeke Mayo, hometown kid, two guys who can shoot it. Lance Storr obviously can do some things off the bounce. How different is this team going to be?
Well, I hope that we play as well together as what we did last year when we were good. But you stop and think about it. We lost a player due to an off the court incident. We lost McCullough. And we didn't really know if Furphy was going to be, any good. And fortunately for us, he played to the level, and that got us to, 5. Got us to 5 or 6, and then losing Kevin was a big loss. And he's still nicked up. He's still not 100% because of some stuff going on with his knee. But he was a warrior. He was tough. And I really thought we had the best 1-2 punch in the country when we had him healthy and Hunter. I thought we had, you can make a case where somebody may have had a better interior player or maybe somebody had a better guard, but I don't know if anybody had a better combination of the two. They both averaged 18 or 19 a game. They were good. But losing that was a big blow. So my deal is with my staff, and I think a lot of coaches say this, so it's not any big news, but hey, I want 8 starters. I want 8 guys that are good enough that if something happens, they're good enough to be a starter at Kansas. They're good enough to be a good player in our league. And you know what? We'll be much more productive with Hunter and with Juan and with KJ and those guys if they're not playing 36, 37 minutes a game. Hey, let's get their numbers down a little bit. And then we recruited pretty well. Our 2 freshmen are good, and one of them has a chance to be special. And then we did fairly well in the portal. So I actually think that we addressed our needs to the point where if something negative does happen, it won't derail us like it did last year.
AJ Storr is really physically gifted. How do you see him? What's his role? How does he fit in with this group?
You know what, Robbie? I don't know yet. I know how we want him to fit in, but how we get him to do what we want. Who would have thought with AJ Storr? You know what I think he should be? I think he should be the best offensive rebounder in the country.
Amen to that.
I don't think that's how he's thought. And that's not knocked anybody else. He's thinking, just give me the ball and get out of my way. And the way that we play is one ball and body movement. When you get it, shoot it, drive it, or pass it, but it can't stick. And so it's a different deal for him. And the other thing about him is, as strong as he is and athletic as he is, he shouldn't get screened. He should be a tremendous defender. And so I'm talking about offensive rebounding and being a lockdown defender, and he's probably thinking, whoa.
Score.
What have I got myself into?
But Coach, doesn't that go back to what you were talking about in terms of impressing an NBA team? Like if you really want to impress an NBA team, yeah, you need to shoot the ball well from three. But if you rebound and you guard,
I tell the players this all the time. If you have 10 guys on the court that are never substituted for, and everybody has the ball the same amount of time, how many minutes out of a 40-minute game would you actually have the ball? And it's not really a fair deal because bigs aren't going to have it as much as guards and this and that. It's 4 minutes each. So you got 36 minutes to show people what you're going to do when you don't have the ball. But to Hunter and to AJ, what they need to do, in my opinion, is show people what they haven't shown them yet. So Hunter can score. He can do this. He can do, he's a great passer. He's extremely, he's got to do that for our team to be good. But you know what? Can he get out of a ball screen? Can he guard a ball screen? Can he protect the paint? Is he a rim protector? Can he rebound outside his area? You do those things and don't make a basket, NBA people will leave more turned on than if you had 30 and didn't do those things.
They know you can do that.
And AJ is a little bit the same way, I think. If we can just get him turned on to do some things that's different than what he knows he can do. I think so many times as a player we fall into our comfort zone. We gravitate to what we know and what we do. Whereas what would NBA people thought if on every miss he's picking up 90 feet and allowing somebody else to run through a pass because he's out pressuring so hard, which he can do. That's well within his makeup. So what his role is going to be will probably be a little different than what it's been in the past. But I don't want to take away from him scoring. I just want him to add playing to his own athletic ability.
What is the biggest concern or weakness? Because we look at this team, and again, you added the shooting, you added the, a guy who can make plays off the bounce. You've got your bigs. You've got some retention with 3 guys back that are older. You got Passmore, who I think that's who you were alluding to earlier, that has a chance.
He's good. He's got to be. Not Flory. Flory has a chance to be special.
And Passmore can be really good too, can he?
Passmore is an Ochai Abaji type.
Yeah.
Not going to be there as a freshman, but over time, he's an athlete and he can do some. He's tough and
to me, with Flory even Bill, like it's almost like Flory at a lot of other places. We both know this would have played 30 minutes a game. Now you're looking at him like, all right, where do we get him in? We got Hunter, we got KJ. He'll play, but obviously he's going to probably wait his turn a little bit or not play as much.
Well, but the bottom line is, and I think Robbie knows this, what do you do when you're in there? How many rebounds per minute are you getting as opposed to how many total rebounds you're getting? There's some things that I think get a little twisted in that players may look at it as I may not be getting the opportunities. And I think some people would look at it as, what are you doing with the opportunities that you do get? And Flory's going to get his opportunities. Flory's the best prospect we've had here without question since Josh. And now whether or not that translates into whatever as a freshman, but it's going to translate into it eventually whenever that time comes.
If you guys started a game tomorrow, Coach, who would be the starting lineup? I know you might not answer this question.
No, I probably won't, but I would say it'd be hard to keep Juan, KJ, Hunt, and Zeke Mayo out of the lineup. Zeke's been our best. He's been our most consistent best guy since June.
Really?
In my opinion. So and you said something earlier, Jeff, perimeter shooting.
Yeah.
You got to, you got Hunt. It'd be nice you can stretch the defense around him to give him more opportunity to work. And KJ is not a guy that can do that. KJ can do a lot of things, and he's improved so much. But the bottom line is we need some shooting around those two, and Zeke provides that as much as anybody.
Coach, I know the in-home visit is like a rite of passage for coaches. Do you have a favorite or a most memorable where you went in and it was just bonkers?
I don't know. I don't know if I had a most memorable. I've been to I've gone to a home visit by myself, and I got the address right. And I go up to the door, and they sent an uncle to answer the door and said, "Man, I don't even know who you are or what you're talking about. This he didn't live here." I get in the car, I drive around the block again. I come back, to the house, and there they are all laughing at me, making fun of me, But
Who was it? Who was it?
I'm not even going to tell you who it was. We didn't get him.
That's pretty good, though. That's pretty good.
No, it was Okafor. It was Jaleel.
Was it? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Jaleel's dad was a riot.
Yeah, but he sent his brothers to the door because I hadn't met his brothers yet,
Yeah.
And no, we don't know anybody by that name, and it's got me just driving around. But I know that there's been some great ones, and I'm sure you've had some memorable ones in your time. But that's something that's it's still important. But home visits aren't like they used to be.
Yeah.
With the new rules and the way everything is set up, it doesn't have the same impact, I don't think, is what it used to. It used to be that, hey man, you better make a great impression on that home visitor. You're going to be in or out right then, and the home visit will determine what schools you're going to visit. That kind of stuff.
Now it's all this.
It's different. It's certainly different now than what it has been.
All right. So if you were not a college basketball coach, what would you be doing? What would your life have looked like?
Well, watching you guys and some of the crack questions you ask, I think I could certainly have my own.
You
podcast.
could be in the media. If just in the media, you could do it. I'm convinced.
No doubt.
No, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably hang on the coattails of somebody that I know in sales and hope like heck that they would hire me. But I don't know. I'm real fortunate because when we got in the business, we didn't get into the business thinking it would be financially, the way it is now. We got into the business thinking, God, I get to coach ball. I get to be in the gym every day. That's why we do it. And then there's been a business aspect to it that's obviously changed. That is so much different than when Coach Katie was at Purdue or Coach Sutton was at Arkansas or Oklahoma State or Kentucky or it's just so much different now. But still, I think the thing that if you really look at it, could Coach Sutton and Coach Katie be great coaches in today's time? And the answer is yes. They would have found a way to adjust. Don't you agree, Robbie?
Yeah, no, I think so.
I mean,
he wanted to do it, and he was a fighter.
But found a way to adjust. And so that's been the thing with me is I love what I do. I love being in the gym. I love coming up with new things. The other thing about our sport that I think is great is just when you think you've figured out how to do something, that's when you're really going to get burned, because there's always somebody out there that's got an idea that's probably better than yours. So you got to always be evolving, and people are going to catch up. Even if you think you're ahead, you'll be ahead for a week and people will catch up. So big thing is, hey, recruit good players, teach them philosophies and what you think wins, and then let them be good players.
I know you guys did the World University Games, right? Where you took the Kansas team overseas as the U.S. national team. You're one of the best X and O's coaches that we have. Is the senior national team and I know you have to be approached to go do that, but we saw Mark Few on staff. Is that something that you would pursue or want to do?
I coached the under, I think it's under 19s. Had a great team, and we rolled. I've been involved with USA Basketball on the selection committee for a while, or was for a while. But truthfully speaking, Robbie, I haven't really been approached by them at that senior level. I'm maybe not interested, which could be the case. And if it is, I'm fine with that because the people they pick are great. Mark's great, Jay Wright. I mean,
Yeah. No disrespect to
studs.
them, obviously.
Yeah, studs. I mean, great. But the reality is, they probably played a bigger role in USA basketball over time than what I have, and probably more deserving than what I would be based on the commitment they've made to the organization over time. But I think it's great that Mark and others have had an opportunity to do some things to put collegiate coaches in that situation. And I've said this also about like with Danny. I mean this. I think it's great that Danny stayed in college. I think it's great for our sport. I think it's good for things moving forward to create interest, because there are some guys that really know what they're doing, and our sport needs those guys around, especially with the number of guys that have been the pillars of our profession retiring in recent years and everything. So I think as much as we can have guys like that being successful, I think is great for our sport moving forward.
That's a good segue. You're 61. You have 806 career wins. That is 396 shy of Coach K, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's it's just 20 more years.
Come on, you go to 74. If you go to 74, Bill, you're right there.
Yeah, if I go to 74, yeah. That won't interest me. I think I'd rather be somewhere where the biggest concern I have every morning is it going to be too cool to wear shorts, or I need to wear pants to play golf? I mean, that would be probably the biggest thing that I would
go with Hummel. He goes every day in the summer, so you and he can be partners, and you can not work like Hummel every day.
Yeah,
sign us up.
It's a hell of a life.
Yeah, when you got somebody such as yourself that's carrying the total load, isn't that right, Jeff? That's carrying the total load that you can fall back on. I guess that would be a benefit, which I personally don't see in my foreseeable future, that I have somebody quite as equipped as you to carry me along.
You have Norm. What do you mean? Norm's carried you for years, and Kurt.
Have you seen Norm and Kurt golf though?
No, I haven't. I can only imagine. Norm's swing has to be brutal. Like, it probably makes Barkley's swing look pretty.
Robbie, Norm's got the shortest backswing in the history of golf.
It's a little quick, huh?
He's a little quick.
Not a big turn.
No turn. But when he hits it, he hits it. But he's got a short takeaway. There's no doubt about it.
No turn makes it hard to be a good golfer. You need to be able to turn. Last question, Coach, and then we'll let you go. Who is the best player you ever seen in high school, and who's the best player you've ever seen in college?
Anthony Hardaway in high school.
Yeah.
I made an attempt to try to recruit Penny when I was at Oklahoma State with Leonard, and actually tried really hard. Obviously it didn't do any good, but I thought he was the best I'd ever seen high school. And I didn't see everybody. I Garnett and some of those guys, I didn't really see or study those guys as much. But Penny was the best that I saw. And then the best collegiate player I've ever seen, hands down, was Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Kevin, I'm like, wow, this dude was different. At 6'11" and could shoot over anybody. You put a lottery pick on him and he doesn't even notice him. Yeah. I thought he was, but the best prospect I've ever seen up close was Joel. I'd never seen anybody with feet like that and hands like that. And of course, with Joe, when he was with us, he weighed 240 pounds. Now he's obviously bigger, but just his skill level was different. So I don't know if that answers your question, but those would be the three best.
Well, and Joel gave us Jeff's great reporting. He might turn pro and he might return to Kansas. We don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I tell you what, it was right after the Baylor game, and we couldn't fly out because of weather, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
And we went to that restaurant that down there that's it's one of their hot spots that sold the bacon wraps around whatever it was. And Jeff came in, and you know what was so great about it? We were all watching ESPN, and Jeff actually it was recorded, and Jeff actually was on the big screen saying that. And as soon as he said that, we all looked at each other, and Jeff was there. We all looked at each other and said, "You're biased," because that was some of the worst reporting I've ever seen.
Hey, again, well, he could have
It was
left,
true.
or he could have come back. I mean, listen, it was accurate. It was.
That's what journalism school at Arizona will teach you. Some shit like that. That's what you'll get there.
Hey, I got one more for you, Bill, because you mentioned him about a minute ago, and it got me thinking. I've done this before of like the best college basketball recruiters or most feared. I've always said most feared, and I always put Slick Rick Stansbury in that top 5, and people are like, huh? Leonard Hamilton was one you would absolutely put. Am I wrong? All-time top 5. Who's that guy? Who's that guy that you, when you're in a gym?
I would always heard Leonard Hamilton and George Felt were two that you were just, they were just assassins. I worked for Leonard, and he how hard he worked at it, the relationships, the staying in contact with people, surrounding himself with everybody that could possibly have influence in a decision. Wow. I mean, and wow. So
you learned from him, Bill. You learned a lot from watching him, I assume, recruiting wise.
Learned a ton.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, my 3 coaches were Larry Brown, maybe as good a basketball mind as there's ever been, Eddie Sutton, who probably was the best at not beating himself, making other teams beat you, and then Leonard Hamilton, who from an energy and recruiting standpoint was the best.
Yeah.
But so I learned, I stole from all those guys, and still to this day, those guys exist every day in what we do.
Was there somebody though that walked in that gym, like when you were at your peak, or even a few years ago, that walks in that gym? It's different now with NIL, but before NIL, pre-NIL, that you were just like, oh shit.
I would think from a head coach's standpoint, Coach Krzyzewski, he had so many things. He had the winning, the tradition, the school, the brand, the academics, and he had USA basketball.
Yeah.
He had a lot of things going on that was hard to deal with.
Yeah.
I actually thought Coach Williams was one of the best head coaches recruiters out there, period. I thought he was terrific. No question, and worked at it hard, and Cal has always been hard to go against as a head coach recruiter, and there's others out there, but as a pure recruiting standpoint, if we're going against those guys, I would say those guys would probably be the hardest to beat, because they worked at it, but also because of the brand that they were representing, and also they had some other things in place that was so beneficial. I would think if you're at Carolina, you probably utilize the Jordan brand a little bit to help in recruiting. Yeah. There were some, there were some things that, if you're at Kentucky, you have this. If you're at Duke, you have that. Those were some things that I'm sure all the other head coaches in America would say, if they put all their eggs into that recruit's basket, that they would be tough to deal with.
Well, listen, we appreciate it. We got about 6 weeks to the start of the season. I'll see you. I love that you're playing Carolina right out of the gates that first week, by the way. I feel like
Carolina's our second game. I think Michigan State is our third game, and I think Duke is like right after our sixth game or fifth game or something. So, and that doesn't count.
Good the first game, Bill.
That
first game.
We're playing Howard next year. We're playing Howard first game, and we're scrimmaging Arkansas right before that. So yeah, we bit off a lot. Hopefully we can handle it, and that doesn't count Creighton, that didn't count NC State, that didn't count Missouri, that didn't count some others, some games that'll be extremely, extremely hard and difficult. But, the reality of it is, the older you get, you worry less about records. You worry more about what prepares us.
Yeah.
And I'm hopeful this does a good job with that, which I think it will.
Well, nobody's more prepared than Robbie Hummel on the golf course. So we got to let him go. I think he's got a tee time here in about 10 minutes.
I got to build on my 76 from yesterday, Jeff. So, yeah, you're right.
We're going to wrap this up. I don't believe him. I think he's a pathological liar with his golf scores. He's still avoiding me playing pickleball, Bill. He's been ducking me now for a year. So we'll end it on that note. Glad to have you back, Hummel. After all summer off, we're going to get back in the saddle here and start doing some of these. And Bill, we'll see you soon, man.
Hey, Robbie, isn't it strange? You threw out 76 and he immediately came back that he is feared on the pickleball court.
Have you seen him do anything athletically?
That's what I was getting ready to. That's where I was going. I mean,
anytime, anywhere, Hummel, anytime.
Okay. Well, I look forward to destroying you in pickleball.
I don't want to shame you in front of Glenn Hummel. That's the only thing. We got to make a deal here that Glenn Hummel, your dad, who is an elite pickleball tennis player, does not have to watch his son get completely decapitated by an old white guy like me.
All right. We'll shut his eyes so he can't see, and then we'll let the carnage ensue.
All right. Make sure you check out the pod. Hummel and Goodman pod is back. And Bill, we'll see you soon.